Gang. This is Scott Fortunoff, and I'm back here again with Semester with Scott, week 4. And week 4 is going to be about the different sales channels that we use to sell our fabrics. So before I start off with all the details and give you all your fodder for the exam, I wanted to tell a short story. And you may or may not have heard this, but when I came into the business about 15 years ago, I remember this very vividly. I was in my office and my dad said, "Scott, come on in the office." And it maybe been a day or two that I'd been in the office, and he said, "Come sit down, I want to talk to you." And it was a very brief conversation, and he said, "Scott," he put it very simply. He said, "Scott, you have one thing to do." And I said, what is that, Dad? And he said, "You just need to sell. If you sell, everything else works itself out." So if you really think about this concept, it really does help, and it drives any business, because any business without sales really cannot succeed. So I always take this to heart, and I always tell this story, and it leads perfectly into the discussion today, which is all the various sales channels that we use to sell our products. I wanted to start off by telling you who our customers are and what their businesses are. So we work with brick and mortar quilt shops. These are mom and pop quilt shops. There are thousands of them in the United States and in the world for that matter, but I'm only talking about the ones in the United States right now. There are also online retailers who are selling just online, and then there's a hybrid, those who have both a quilt shop and sell online. That is, a lot of shops do that, and they offer what they offer in the shop online as well. Then we have the larger online retailers. We sell to Missouri Star, Fabric.com, Fat Quarter Shop, Hancock Paducah, and retailers like that. Then there's chain stores. So we do sell to the chains, but let me be clear here. The only division that we have that sells to the chains is our Fabric Editions division. Our brands, Studio E, Free Spirit, Henry Glass, Black Quiltland, we do not sell those to the big box retailers, which include Walmart, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, some of the dollar stores. We do not sell them those quilt shop only brands. They're called quilt shop only because we do not sell them to the big box retailers. But I do want to explain one thing while we're here and while I have you. A lot of times people will see that Walmart.com has people selling fabrics, and sometimes you'll see Free Spirit or Blank Quilting or Studio E being sold on Walmart.com. But let me be clear about this and what this really is, so you understand and see kind of where the problem is. What this really is that Walmart or whomever it is using their platform to allow other people the opportunity to sell fabrics. So in this case, it's not Walmart buying from Blank Quilting or Studio E. It's one of our customers buying from us, and then they are reselling it on Walmart.com. It's no different than someone selling on eBay or Amazon or a different sales platform. So be clear, we are not selling to Walmart.com. So when you see that, you will know that that is the situation. And I do get a lot of calls, angry calls about this, and I just say, listen, this is just someone else reselling on this page. I want to move on to chains overseas. There's one chain in particular that I want to talk about, and that's Spotlight. Spotlight of Australia is a retailer with maybe 130, 140 stores in New Zealand, Singapore, and of course, Australia. We've been working with them for maybe 10 years now, and more recently we've had struggles with our distributors in Australia, and this is excluding Free Spirit. Our Free Spirit distributor is XLN, and they are very strong. So outside of that, for our other brands, we've struggled, and we decided that we wanted to sell our other brands to Spotlight. We want our fabrics to be distributed, and as I said in the beginning of this talk, we need to sell fabric. That is the key, to sell as much fabric as possible, and we need to find the strongest partner to do that, and Spotlight is that company. So we've been selling to them, and we just started more recently selling more of our quilt shop only lines to them through Studio E, Blank, and Henry Glass. It's worked out fine. We have not gotten any complaints, so it's worked out really well. But in addition, we do still have distributors in Australia who we use, and we just tell them up front, we're selling this line to Spotlight, and we understand if you don't want to buy it, because we understand that your quilt shop customers don't want to compete with Spotlight. We totally get it. We have enough lines for everyone to be happy and everyone to sell plenty of our fabric. So I did want to explain that and just tell you we had to make a decision to find our best partner, and in this case, Spotlight is that partner for us overseas. So then I want to talk to you about the distributors in the United States. So there's several distributors in the United States. Some of the biggest ones that we work with include Checker in Maumee, Ohio, Schenck on the West Coast in Portland, Oregon, Faust in the Carolinas, Needlecraft in New Jersey, and Midwest Textiles in Missouri. And we've been working with distributors for a long time, and not all of our companies are sold through distributors, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But again, these are our customers, but they also sell for us, so they have a dual position. And then there are the overseas distributors, so no different. These are companies like Checker and Schenck that work, and they work in different countries that they cover, and they have reps that speak the languages in all these different countries, and they get our color cards and they offer our lines, and I'll discuss that again later. Some of those companies include International Textiles, which is in Canada, Suzy Q Textiles in Canada, Staff in Denmark, XLN in Australia, Rhintex in Europe, EQS in England, Castletort in Spain, J. Pujol in Spain, Victorian in Australia, Adlico in Denmark, Arthur Bales we use in South Africa, Industrial Textiles, Longte, Kiyahara, Kinkami, Littore in Italy, and Fabco in New Zealand. Those are various companies that we work with, and we are always looking to sell to more people overseas. Also, another customer of ours is manufacturers. We do have manufacturers that either produce clothing or some sort of product where they buy our fabrics in larger quantities and produce products, clothing, what have you. And that is another customer that we work with too. Those customers typically buy rolled on tube, ROT, which is the large rolls before we cut the fabric up into the bolts that we ship to the quilt shops. So that is another customer of ours. That business has changed dramatically and it's not a huge part of our business. Of course, back in the day when we were more into manufacturing and lingerie and sleepwear, that was a bigger part of our business. All right, so who sells our lines for us in the US and who gets the samples? So the first thing I want to tell you about is our sales reps. So there's two types of sales reps. There's the multi-line sales rep. So that's the sales rep that sells for various different companies. They might carry Henry Glass, but they might carry Hoffman or Kaufman or some other competitor of ours. In this case, I usually say that these sales reps are probably most loyal to the companies that they sell the most for, but they really just want to sell a lot of fabric and they're in with the customers, so they might as well offer as many lines as possible. Of course, they are limited. They can't carry a zillion lines. It's just not efficient and not feasible. And a quilt shop in an appointment can only see so many lines before they just get stressed out and become overloaded. Then we have the exclusive sales reps. So one thing that's really interesting, and this opportunity arose for us when we bought Blank Quilting several years ago. They had their own exclusive sales force. So these are reps that work just for them, independent contractors, and this really excited me, and really in the end, the biggest reason why we bought Blank Quilting was because of their exclusive sales force. I love this idea to have someone who's selling just our lines, and it's worked out really well for us. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that later. The last thing I just want to mention on the sales reps, or whether it's a multi-line or an exclusive rep, is that several years ago there was more of a movement to move to exclusive sales reps and really get away from the distributors. I don't think it got much traction. I think a lot of those companies ended up going back to the distributors and getting back in with them. But there are definitely still companies out there like Blank Quilting that have their own sales force. I know QT Fabrics has that. That's one that comes to mind. And Moda also does too. They're also a distributor. So let's talk about my company specifically and our sales efforts. So here we go. Henry Glass. So Henry Glass uses multi-line reps. So again, I just explained that. That's a rep that may sell various different lines, from various companies that are totally unrelated. Henry Glass also uses distributors in the US and international distributors. So Henry Glass uses almost all of the distributors in the US. And listen, it definitely helps. it definitely gets, every stone gets turned over and we get to see every customer. The problem is when you use every distributor and you have your own sales rep, that maybe they're fighting with each other and they're fighting for sales, and it gets a little cat fighty and things like that. Moving on to Studio E. Studio E uses our exclusive sales reps that we hired from Blank Quilting. And when we hired them for Blank Quilting, we started giving them our other companies. So they're still exclusive to us, but we've given them a lot more products to sell. So they're more like a multi-line rep, but working exclusively for us. And I'll discuss that a little bit later and about the lines that we distribute for other companies. So Studio E has exclusive reps from Blank Quilting and Studio E, and they also use several distributors in the United States. As far as overseas, we use international distributors and also sell through Spotlight in Australia. Henry Glass uses international distributors and also sells just more recently in Australia through Spotlight. Blank Quilting just uses the exclusive sales reps. So no distributors in the United States at all for Blank Quilting. So these reps, it's nice for them because they don't have to race with the distributors and other competition out there trying to sell the line. They know that if the shops want the line, they'll wait for it because they really have no other way to see it. And then outside of the US, we sell Blank Quilting through Spotlight and also sell it through various international distributors. Nathan, we use exclusive reps and distributors, the Blank Quilting reps, and Free Spirit. I've skipped over that on my notes here, but Free Spirit uses multi-line reps like Henry Glass, and they also, this is the only company that does this, but when we bought Free Spirit, they sold directly to the Canadian shops. So we have a Canadian sales force as well, just for Free Spirit, and then internationally, we sell Free Spirit through various international distributors like Rhintex and Stoff and others like that. But Free Spirit is not selling through Spotlight, so I just want to be clear about that so everyone hears me say that. And then Three Wishes. Three Wishes is a line that's made by our Fabric Additions division, and that is sold through our Blank sales reps, and they also sell it through distributors in the US and overseas. So as I mentioned above, I wanted to talk about our Blank / Studio E sales reps that are exclusive to us. Again, it was great when we got them because we were able to give them Studio E and A Nathan and other lines to carry. And then as time went on, we realized, wow, these reps are out, they're in the shops, we might as well give them more products so they could have a sufficient meeting. So then we partnered up with our distributor in Denmark, which is Stoff of Denmark, and now we started selling their lines in the US to our customers as well. And then it went further. Then we started distributing for Cykel. Cykel has the NCAA products, and then Oasis is another company that started. They have quilt shop lines. And what we do with these companies is our reps will write the orders. Well, not for Stoff. For Stoff, we will order by the container load. We'll accumulate a lot of orders and then place an order with Stoff and get it shipped to the US. For Cykel and Oasis, we will order the lines. The reps will send us the order, and then we will send it to them, and the supplier will drop ship the order to our customer. They'll send it directly to our customer and charge us for that. Then more recently, we partnered with a batting company, Airlight Batting, and an adhesive company, Hot Fix Adhesive. And our reps sell those too, and we send the orders to the company, and they will ship them right to our customer. So this has worked out really well. And then again, it all goes back to the same thing about selling, selling, selling. This is just more sales for us. In some situations we make more money, in some situations we make less money, but in total we are selling and increasing our sales, which goes back to what my dad said to me, Scott, is sell, sell, sell. So I want to talk about the distributors a little more. So this is always confusing to some people. So the distributors buy from us at a price, let's call it X, and then they sell it at the same price as our sales rep. So essentially they get a discount, and they buy, and then they sell at the same price. So let's say my reps are selling for $3 a yard. Their reps are selling it for the same $3 a yard. So they make the spread between the $3 a yard and whatever. Let's just say we charge them $2. They have $1 to spread over their sales rep and their overhead and making their own money. So that's really kind of how it works. But one of the things is that I mentioned with Free Spirit and with Blank Quilting, because we don't use distributors, it allows us more flexibility. Because I don't want my reps going out and selling at a different price from the sales rep from Checker, because then we'll get in trouble. They'll call us and say, why are you selling at a different price? You need to be at the same price. And that's totally fair and legitimate. So where we don't use the distributors, we have the flexibility to have specials and offer discounts and things like that. So Free Spirit and Blank have that flexibility. And we have specials, monthly specials. Blank has something called a BBB, which is a Blank Blog Bonanza, which is specials for our customers. And Free Spirit has Free Spirit Fabric Frenzy, which is specials for their customers as well. So the international distributors, moving back to them, they sell worldwide in various areas around their country. You know, someone who covers Europe might cover all of Europe. There might be spots they don't cover because there are other people that are stronger. The other thing I want to mention was Quilt Market, the importance of Quilt Market as it relates to our international customers. The most important thing to me is seeing the international customers at Quilt Market. Our domestic customers we could see all the time, and our sales reps will cater to them. But the international distributors we only get to see at Quilt Market. So really we're kind of hurting on that front, and it's not the same using Zoom and things like that, or just sending them the color cards to have them sell. It would help to see them in person and be able to show them the lines and have discussions with them and talk about business. So just a quick mention on Quilt Market. Then the last thing I want to mention is how the international distributors buy. Some of them buy directly from us in the US and we ship to them. Others will buy ex-mill. So that means they buy it directly from the mill and we ship it, or the mill ships it directly to them. So instead of coming to the US and we pay a duty and then we handle it and all this other stuff, we could lower the price and they can take the goods directly from overseas, and in that case they will get it faster. This is best for the larger distributors who buy larger quantity, so it could be efficient for them to ship. If you have very small quantities, it doesn't make sense. And then of course for those who buy from the US, what we'll do is if a distributor buys from various companies of ours, we'll collect a bunch of goods on the side and then we'll ship them a large shipment as soon as it's feasible. So that's really Semester with Scott, session 4, who we sell to, who our customers are, and how we sell to them, and our various channels of distribution. I hope this was helpful to you. And that's all for today. Have a great week. I hope this was helpful in helping you understand our business and the insides of the textile industry. Take care. Bye, everyone.